Hey everyone, Cosmic Mango here, your favorite mango from outer space. I hope you're all doing well today. Welcome back to another thrilling episode of a budget power-ups for Commander. If you're looking for some great cards that can be purchased on a total budget to power up your Commander decks, then you arrived to the correct video. Okie dokie, so without further ado, let's dive into these power-ups.
Number 1. Tireless Tracker. A human scout creature that costs 1 green and 2 generic mana to cast. It has 3 power and 2 toughness and says the following. Landfall. Whenever a land enters a battlefield under your control, investigate. Create a clue token. It's an artifact with 2 generic mana, sacrifice its artifact, draw a card. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, put a +1/+1 counter on Tireless Tracker. Okay, Tireless Tracker has long been a great card in the Commander format, but for a very long time it's always cost a lot of money to purchase. Now, thanks to some recent reprints, the price tag of this powerful card has dropped dramatically, making it very accessible for many players in the format. Tireless Tracker has the ability to generate card advantage by creating clue tokens whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control. This creature shines massively in heavy landfall decks because of that. The ability to repeatedly generate additional resources with Tireless Tracker makes it a valuable engine in Commander decks, and you can use the clue tokens for so many different and cool strategies, since they count as artifacts. For example, you could sacrifice them. Imagine what you can do in a Carvel deck with this card. Overall, this is one very solid card and worth picking up. You can buy this card for around $1. Number 2. Cranial Plating. An artifact equipment spell that costs 2 generic mana to cast and says the following. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. For 2 black mana, attach Cranial Plating to target creature you control, or equip for 1 generic mana. So if you're playing a Voltron deck that stacks up with loads of artifact and equipments, then Cranial Plating can massively impact your power level. The power buff this equipment can offer, especially late game, is truly huge. If you've managed to stack up your board with a large amount of artifacts, you're going to be able to pump up a creature's power by a hefty amount, making this do some fantastic work, especially in Voltron focused decks. But also can excel in any other heavy artifact focused deck, as long as you have a creature to attach this to. Suddenly that creature can swing for a lot of damage. This is a great power up to pick up, and with a low casting cost as well. You can't really go wrong. You can buy this card for around 70 cents. Number 3. Thran Dynamo. An artifact spell that costs 4 generic mana to cast and says the following. Tap, add 3 generic mana. Short, sweet, and incredibly effective. Thran Dynamo is an excellent card for ramping up your mana base. This artifact comes in untapped as well, so if you're playing for mana, you then have access to 3, if it is successfully cast of course. And you can use that remaining mana to cast something else, perhaps even more mana rocks. I've had turns in Commander where I've dropped a load of mana rocks straight after Thran Dynamo, and when my next turn did come back around, instead of having 4 mana open, I suddenly had something like 9 or 10 mana. I gained a huge leap of mana within a turn, and this pushed me way ahead of my opponents. Honestly, Thran Dynamo is super sweet, and in the worst case scenario, you can use it to pay your additional Commander tax. Great card to pick up. I love it, and you can buy this card for around $1.80. Number 4. Resculpt. An instant spell that costs 1 blue and 1 generic mana to cast. It says the following. Exile target artifact or creature. Its controller creates a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. Okay, personally I feel like Resculpt is a must-play card in any blue deck. Its power is absurd and only costs a total of 2 mana to cast. The fact we get to target an artifact as well as a creature is wonderful, giving us great variety. You see this card pop up quite often in the more competitive side of Commander because it really can put in a lot of work, and at such a low casting cost, why not play it? Honestly, really good card. It can help remove some massive artifact staples as well as creature staples in the Commander format. Great power up for sure, well worth picking up, and you can buy this card for around 40 cents.
Hey guys, quick little break here to talk about Paramount Designs. They make amazing playmats for Magic the Gathering and any other card game that you're interested in. I have a special coupon, special offer code that you can collect in my YouTube description below. Really easy, scroll down to the description, click the link, and you're gonna get like a 15% discount on your next order from Paramount Designs. Highly recommend doing it. These designs are super durable and they have amazing artwork. There's loads of stuff you can pick from. Great stuff. So yeah, check them out. Let's go back to the video.
Number 5. Scavenging Ooze. An ooze creature that costs 1 green and 1 generic mana to cast. It has 2 power and 2 toughness and says the following. For 1 green mana, exile target card from your graveyard. If it was a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on Scavenging Ooze and you gain 1 life. This creature is incredibly powerful. Being able to remove a card from a graveyard for just 1 green mana is huge, and we do it multiple times per turn as long as we have enough mana to spend. Removing cards is very good. Then if the cards we exile are creatures, our ooze then gets +1/+1 counters and we gain 1 life. So much good card text here. You got to love this cute little ooze. A very versatile card indeed that can be used to shut down a lot of decks in the format, especially those desperately wanting to work with graveyard recursion, since you're exiling their cards from their graveyards. Awesome, right? You can buy this card for around 60 cents. Number 6. Hardened Scales. An enchantment spell that costs 1 green mana to cast and says the following. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature you control, that many +1/+1 counters are put on it instead. Now this enchantment is beautiful, absolute perfection. For just 1 mana, we get a very handy effect from Hardened Scales, which can very quickly grow our board state to ridiculous heights. This enchantment is powerful and incredibly consistent, especially in any decks that are running +1/+1 counters. This enchantment is truly wonderful in Atraxa decks. I'm sure you've probably seen it before if you played against Atraxa. Anyway, yeah, great power up. Definitely pick one up, and you can buy this card for around $1.90. Number 7. Imprisoned in the Moon. An enchantment spell that costs 1 blue and 2 generic mana to cast. It says the following. Enchant creature, land or planeswalker. Enchanted opponent is a colorless land with tap. Add 1 colorless or generic mana to your mana pool and loses all other cards, types and abilities. I love the name of this card. I think it really shines on what the card is trying to do. You're definitely imprisoning something within a moon. It can't go anywhere. Okay, so first off, be careful. This card can generate a lot of salt. Trust me, I know this from experience. People hate this card when it's played on their own permanents. It's a very powerful spell. You can pretty much remove someone's commander for the rest of the commander game if they can't answer back to this. Being able to turn a creature, land or planeswalker into a little mana rock is absurdly powerful, and it only costs a total of 3 mana. It's very hard to then turn it back into whatever it was before, unless you have enchantment removal, of course, but yeah, not many people seem to play that these days, and they should. But with great power comes great responsibility, as this card generates a heck of a lot of hate, so be wary when casting it. You can buy this card for around 80 cents. Number 8, the final card on my list, Reckless Fireweaver. A human artificer creature that costs 1 red and 1 generic mana to cast. It has 1 power and 3 toughness and says the following. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, Reckless Fireweaver deals 1 damage to each opponent. Okay, if you're playing a heavy artifact focused deck and want to find ways to ping lots of damage over the game, this creature is perfect for you. It provides consistent damage output. Reckless Fireweaver triggers whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, dealing 1 damage to each opponent. In a multiplayer format like Commander, this can quickly add up over the course of the game, especially if you have multiple artifacts entering the battlefield each turn. Plus, it damages each opponent, not target opponent, which is huge. It is low cost and easy to cast at only 2 mana. Reckless Fireweaver is easy to cast in the early game, allowing you to start dealing damage to your opponents right away. This is one excellent power up, very worth picking up, and you can buy this card for around $1. Okay everyone, we have come to the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for making it this far. If you did enjoy the video, please could you drop a like, comment and subscribe to the channel. I would really like to know if you have any recommendations on budget upgrades for Commander. If you do, please share it in the comment section below. I love reading your comments and always try my best to answer them all. Thanks for watching everyone, and as always, take care and goodbye.